Hello and welcome to your Sound Sage instrument sourcing video. Over this course, we're going to go over all the fundamentals to really cultivate your own personal practice with sound. And a lot of times, the first kind of questions I get are, where do we source our instruments? But before we get there, there's some foundations that we need to lay down. So I encourage you to get a notebook, maybe a pen, and let's dive in. When we're talking about sourcing our instruments, we're talking about starting a relationship with sacred teachers. So I have some very detailed notes of the protocol that I recommend when approaching acquiring your instruments. It's not a shopping list, it's a receiving. So if you see me looking on at my computer, it's because I want to make sure that you are fully prepared to begin your journey of selecting your instruments, aka welcoming the vibratory teachers that are ready to grace your life. So, starting with this mindset, we got to set the tone. This is about active listening. What instruments do you notice cause a somatic response in your body? What makes you feel home? What maybe expands you? It's really this honing of internal listening that allows you to start noticing the patterns of the vibrations that are coming in and then welcoming in a very specific teacher for that specific vibration. Sometimes you'll even begin start hearing the instruments in the sound bath before you have them. I've had some come through dreams. It's like any other teacher. You really are being asked to allow yourself to listen in a greater way. The key message here is not hoarding, it's not going after your shopping list, but truly, the key message is that these instruments will find you. And that can come in a myriad of different ways. My encouragement here is to stay open. You never know the instrument that may be gifted to your doorstep or the one that may be waiting for you in a temple that you always knew was meant for you. I've heard countless different stories of miraculous ways that these instruments come into your experience. And staying open to that magic really amplifies the intention and relationship that's created with the instrument. In order to do this, we got to let go of something. And it's something that is so steeped in our culture, and that is urgency. You have to let go of urgency, of needing to catch them all, if you will. Moving away from this consumeristic and capitalistic approach of acquiring these tools is really vital when decolonizing your own mind when it comes to vibrational medicine. This isn't something that you're acquiring just to commodify. And if it is, I would ask you to recheck your intentions. What we're really doing is welcoming in new vibratory pathways in and through our life. And so when we allow that timing to unfold in its own perfect timing, rather than urgency, we're able to cultivate a deep devotion. And that's really what's required when cultivating a relationship with sound healing therapy. Each instrument, it has its own energy, its own texture. And as we dive into the coursework, we'll talk a little bit about those even more. Some are soothers, other are activators. So depending on what type of song spirit is asking you to weave, it's going to require different tools. Some may be excavating, others soothing, others expanding. So I encourage you to pause, to take a breath, to get clear about really why you're on this journey. What drew you in? Perhaps you are wanting more grounding in your life. So the beat of a drum or rhythm can help bring you back into that balance. Maybe those crystal bowls have been playing in your head ever since you sat in your first sound bath. Those are the type of magnetisms that I'm asking you to be open to and on the look for, because that is where the magic of the calling begins to brew. I'd like to go over some common beginner mistakes, but as we know, mistakes always turn into lessons. So there's no shame in the game. If you've already gone out and bought your whole favorite shopping list, there's no way that I am in by any means saying anything negative about that. But these are some things that I have noticed among the years within the community and encouraging other students to begin to sit with sound healing. There can be a rushing in the process or trying to replicate somebody else's setup. This is kind of like replicating someone else's art piece. Not all of us are meant to paint with the same hues or work with the same textures. Your unique song is your unique song. So if you just go and look and get exactly the same setup as someone else, you're kind of robbing yourself from the magic and the fun of letting these teachers come in. And choosing based off aesthetics rather than sound quality and resonance is really a place that can be lacking. You want to make sure that you are allowing these instruments to come into your life from clear channels. Not every sound bowl is made equally. Some are not made with intention. So it's really wise when it comes to sourcing that you're choosing to move with integrity in the businesses and in the artisans that you're supporting through receiving your instruments. Now that we've established the heart and the mindset to go into receiving your instruments, let's talk a little bit more about some specifics, especially around tuning. You'll see this in hertz. Two of the most popular tunings are 432 hertz and 440 hertz. In the coursework, you'll learn why and what the qualities of these hertz do. But to give you a short synopsis here, 432 is going to decrease cellular inflammation, also activating and opening you up to theta brainwaves. This is an incredibly healing frequency. All of our modern music is tuned to 440 hertz. So if you're wanting to play with other musicians, your 432 instruments will sound slightly off, just like something's not quite right. Because, say, the piano or the guitar are tuned typically to 440 hertz. And we'll dive in the coursework a lot more in this. So that's where we're going to put in a pin in it for right now. Basically, 432 hertz is known as the natural tuning, the Verdi tuning. This is considered more harmonious and natural with nature. It was in the Baroque period, I believe, that 432 became the most well known because you would actually harmonize the instruments to the environment, because this is also the natural hum of the earth. So, when we talk about 432 hertz and talk about sound healing, this is my personal opinion, and you can have your own personal opinion, but I don't really see the point of purchasing 440 hertz bowls unless you're actually planning to be playing with a band, with a bass, with guitar, with piano, with those instruments. Because 432 is really what allows the training in the coherence of nature and the human body, allowing all of our natural systems to function most optimally. But 440 hertz, this is a standard concert pitch. It's our modern Western music standard, essentially. It's brighter, it has a sharper quality, and it's more readily available commercially, and it can feel a little bit more stimulating mentally. We'll go over some possible conspiracy theories as well as the way in which it influences the body differently later in your coursework. It can feel slightly a little bit more edgy. So when we're talking about your tuning and considering your tuning, really consider the energetic quality that you're wanting to create in your sessions. What is the intention in which you're wanting to play your instruments? I always recommend 432 hertz when doing sound bass, especially for the crystal bowls. But trust your intuition. Do what resonates for your body. Sound combinations and different tunings can be mixed intentionally, but be mindful. Some combinations are harmonious and others create dissonance. That's not positive or negative, but it does have different implications. And we'll explore this more in future modules. If you're wanting to source instruments that are outside of SoundStage's recommended sourcing spaces, here are a few things to consider. Know where your instruments are coming from and who made them if possible. Avoid mass produced items that lack energetic integrity. Oftentimes, you'll see instruments that are sold at a really low price, and I encourage you to question why that could be. Consider the supply chain. Are the materials ethically harvested? Are the makers fairly compensated? For Himalayan bowls, seek out authentic Nepali or Tibetan artisans. Also, Micah, one of the Soundstage guides, is a wonderful resource as he goes directly to these spaces and bring back bowls that are of such high resonance. Remember, your purchase, it supports a lineage of sacred sound, and honoring that is very, very important. If you're buying online, look for suppliers who offer samples of the instruments or videos of the instruments being played. Let's talk about sourcing and shipping. I've already created a list inside of your portal of some of my favorite places to get sound healing instruments. But just to list a few and give them some shout outs here, I have been a long supporter of Sunreed instruments. Also, here at the Lotus Healing Studio, you're able to get access to wholesale instruments and distribution through ethical sources through the Lotus Boutique. And Erica, the owner here, is happy to help you with any of those sourcing. Crystal tones can be wonderful, powerful instruments as well. But the Star Soul Shamanic has these beautiful crystal infusion bowls that are tuned to 432 or 528 hertz. This is one of its very first kind that is tuned to 528, the frequency known to heal DNA and shift fear into love. A really practical consideration is how much space do you realistically have? You need to honor your real life circumstances, your storage space. Be realistic about how much space you have at home. The instruments need to be stored safely and not crammed into closets. So consider, do you have a dedicated space where you can store all of the sound healing instruments for your practice? Do you have somewhere that you can actually have the bowls out so that as you move through your day, you're cultivating a greater relationship with them, even if it's one strike or one drone around the bowl? These climate control implications matter as well. You don't want to have the in high heat and then in freezing cold. So really being realistic about what your storage space looks like, what the temperatures, what the humidity are, because those can all damage your instruments. Creating a space for your instruments that honors their energy will only honor the devotion to the craft even more. And also transportation capacity. How much can you actually fit in your car? If you're going to be traveling for sound healing, how are you going to be able to take them to and fro? Or traveling on an airplane, how much are you really going to be able to pack? And how are you going to pack that safely? These are all things that are really important to consider when purchasing instruments. Consider investing in really high quality carrying cases. Many spaces will offer these to you as an upsell when you're purchasing your instruments. Always go for cushy. I also like to add yoga mats or little pieces of fabric, anything I can find, or some of my now personal favorites, the harmonic life covers. These are amazing for packing your bowls. They move like butter, and you'll see it in a video that features these harmonic covers when I unpack and pack my instruments. Another consideration is the impacts that you have on purchasing. What is actually in your availability? You don't want to burn out and you don't want to put yourself in financial stress. Use what you can, become creative. It wasn't until recently that I had some of the greater covers for my instruments. You start small and you work your way. Things have a way of magically coming into your space when you're available for it.